All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, as you can see on the screen here, and I'm sure you saw in the thumbnail, we're going to be messing around with a little bit of green-black Issho. Going to be having a little bit of fun today. All right. Now, we do have a lot of stuff to go over. Let me go ahead and break down today's video for you so you know everything we are going over. First up, we're going to be heading over to the lab, and we're going to be checking out a game of Red Sanji versus Blackbeard. Okay, that should be a pretty interesting matchup, a little bit of an OP09 spoiler style of matchup. Okay, and from there, we're going to be heading over to some spoilers. Guys, we've got about 7 or 8 spoilers, I think. I don't know the exact number, to be honest, but we're going to be looking at some of the Supernova spoilers coming out for OP10. After that, we're going to head over to the sim. I've got 3 games lined up for us for green-black Issho. That should be a lot of fun. And then we'll wrap up the video with the, like a deck tech, kind of going over, the green-black Issho list that I've got ready for us today. And we'll wrap it all up in that way. All right, guys, so you know what we're getting into. Excuse me, we will have a little bit of spoilers today, but I will have everything time-stamped in the general description. So if you don't want to see any of the spoilers, you'll be able to skip around to wherever you want to in the video. Okay, guys? I'll have everything time-stamped, like I said, and then down in the comment section, I will have any kind of relevant links or deck lists down there. All right, guys? Okay, let's do this. Let's get into it. So first things first, we got to head over to the lab. Let me move this picture here. There we go. And the lab. What is the lab? So for any new listeners, at the beginning of my videos, I try to include this portion that we call the VV lab. And in this section, basically what I'm doing is I'm reviewing community submitted games. Community submitted games. And this is not me playing. People submit their games. I check them out, and I kind of give, it's almost like a free coaching session if you want to see it that way. If you're interested in me reviewing one of your games, like what I'm doing right here, notice all the names are blocked out, so you don't have to worry about people knowing who it is. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. If you're interested in me reviewing one of your games, it's very easy to do. Excuse me, guys, I can't even talk today. It's very easy to do. All you have to do is record one of your games on the sim, or you could do a live game as well. That's fine as well. But all you have to do is record one of your games, upload it to YouTube, and then once you do that and you get the link for it, you're going to be able to go over to the VV Theory Discord, and in the Review My Games channel, just drop it in there. As soon as I see it, I give you the thumbs up, and you get thrown in line to where, whenever it's your turn in line, you're the next one up. And just to give people a quick heads up, if you were to enter right now at the time you're recording and putting this video out, you would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 days away to where you'd see your video on here. If I do one of these videos every single day, because sometimes I do miss the lab when it's a video that's not, when it's a more focused video. But generally speaking, I do one every single day. Okay, now, if there's any other questions on how to get set up on that, like how to submit your stuff, just ask in the comment section below or hop on the Discord. That's the best way to get to me. Okay, guys? Don't DM me. Please do not direct message me. Just say something in the general chat, and either myself or someone else will be able to help you pretty quickly. Now, let's go ahead and dive into today's game. The volume is off. The speed is on 2x. The quality is up as high as it will go. And here we go, guys. So we got a game of Red Sanji versus Blackbeard. Now, this is a matchup that is probably going to be very heavily favored for Sanji. Because Blackbeard, let me pause real quick. So they started off playing out Lafitte. Wait, what was their turn 1 play? They played out the Searcher, This Is My Age, the event Searcher for Blackbeard, which allowed them to search up the Lafitte. Then they played Lafitte for the turn, not using the effect yet because they only had 2 Dawn because it was their turn 1. Now, back to what I was saying, guys. With Sanji versus Blackbeard, I think Sanji will be a very natural counter to like control decks, especially one like Blackbeard that stops on play effects. Because Sanji basically says right on the card itself, it says, if you play a character that does not have an on play effect, you can give it rush if it costs 8 or less. Now, you can only do that once per turn, but guys, that's still very, very powerful, right? And it plays completely around Blackbeard's effect, which, as you can see on the screen here, let me put my glasses on and read it. Blackbeard's effects here, Marshall D. Teach on the right of the screen, it says your on-play abilities don't activate. And activate main if you trash a card from your hand until the end of your opponent's next turn, that your opponent's on-play effects don't activate. Well, guess what? Sanji builds his entire deck around not using on-play effects. So this is very much a hard counter matchup for Blackbeard. Like Sanji hard counters Blackbeard. Let's see how this game goes, though. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and take a life early on as well. That's very, very scary, guys. That's very scary, taking a life early on against an aggressive deck like Sanji as Blackbeard. Especially since, hey, okay, so let me pause real quick. We do have to talk about this, especially for the people who are not totally into the OP09 meta yet. Generally speaking, Marshall D. Teach, I'm just going to call him Blackbeard, guys. That's just kind of how he's known. The way that he's played is you're going to be trashing a card every single turn to turn off your opponent's on-play effects. Well, if your opponent doesn't have any on-play effects to turn off, because Sanji doesn't play any on-play effects, I mean, he might run a few. Like, there's Otama in the hand, but that's, you know, let me just say this. He doesn't run enough to worry about. I would save my cards to counter out of attacks, because those are going to be way harder to deal with. So that is just something to take into consideration. Now, the Blackbeard player, he does decide to take the very first hit, which was only a 5k attack. Let's hope they don't go on to regret that later in the game. Okay, so they're going to play out a Laboon here. Hey, the pause. Okay, so there we go. So the Sanji player takes the hit, and I understand that. Typically, the aggro decks want to take early hits. I would have probably still considered... No, actually, hang on. I would not have used a 2k counter there, not because I'm scared to use a 2k counter on just a 5k versus a 5k. That's fine. As long as you stop the attack with one card, you're pretty much doing fine. It's not the most efficient way to do it. However, I think it's okay to take life early and get more answers in your hand, especially against Blackbeard, because they don't have any on-play effects that are going to trash your hand, right? If we were playing against a blue deck, I would probably counter out pretty aggressively in case they drop a pudding on us or something like that. But as I was saying earlier, and as we know, Blackbeard can't use any on-play effects. So he can't use a card like Issho to make us trash cards from hand. So I think it was fine taking a hit there. And one more thing I want to say in regards to Sanji is, typically speaking, you want to protect your board with your counter power. However, against decks that are running black, you're not protecting your board. It's not happening. They're just going to KO it, right? That's just kind of how it works. So I think countering out would not have been the worst thing in the world there early on, but not a big deal. Let's see how things go. Most people do take the first life pretty, you know, without even thinking. Most people just take the first life, so that way they get another card in hand, and hey, they still got 4 life left to go off of. Okay, all right, here we go. Hey, your life is a resource, guys. Your life is a resource. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and play out... nice. So they have 2 Fire Fists in hand. For those who are not aware what Fire Fist does, it is a 2-cost card that is activate main, reduce the power of a character by 4,000 for the turn. And if your opponent, if you have 2 or less life, you can also KO a character that has 0 power. So in this case, we have 4 lives. That part didn't matter. But we reduced the power of the Laboon by 4,000, swinging for 5 with Nico Robin, popping a character that I think it's a 3,000 power or less, or it might be 2,000. I think it's 3,000 power or less, whatever it is. End up popping the Laboon, and then we're off to the races. Swinging 5 at face here. They take that as well, guys. They have taken 2 5k hits. Now here comes the 7k. They have to take that as well. Man, hey guys, this Marshall D. Teach player, this Blackbeard player, he is playing very loose, very reckless here. Okay, so here we go. Okay, and I did say that Robin pops like 3,000 or less. Okay, so they go ahead and get rid of the Nico Robin with the Doc Q effect to KO a character there. Gonna swing in for 5, and hey, the Sanji takes it too, which seems a little dangerous to me, but that's okay. A lot of people, let me say something real quick. If you're a newer player, do not be scared to use a 2k counter in your hand to stop a 5k attack. Yes, you could technically get more value from a 6k attack, right? But guess what? At the end of the day, you used 1 card to save 1 life. Yes, you should always try to be efficient with your countering and things like that. If we had a 1k counter, that would have made the decision very easy. However, we have 2 2k counters in our hand. Now we have 3 because we just drew one for the turn. But we had 2 2k counters in hand and a guard point. So I think, honestly, I don't think it would have been the worst idea ever to try to save that card. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Now, it does have to be said here, we are probably about to have an absolutely dynamic, crazy turn here for the Sanji player, because we have Pell in hand, and remember, guys, in this deck, that character has Rush. if we give it Rush with our leader's effect. Okay, so here we go. So swing 5 into there, very nice. Now we're going to swing 8 into face, popping a 4,000 power or less character with Pell, which was the Shiryu. But hear me out. I honestly would have rathered... Well, okay, we can't get both. I was going to say it would have been nice if we could have if we could have KO'd the Lafitte. But KOing the bigger character there, the more valuable character that also had some type of... I think he has... Shiryu has draw 2, trash 2, correct? Let me see something real quick. Let me see if we can see right. And I'm going to try to pause it right... Oh, I can't do it in time. But I think he had some type of draw effect as well. So getting rid of him, I think, was completely fine. Okay, so then we swung in for 8, and here we go. I bet they're regretting they didn't counter out earlier when there was just small 5K and 6K attacks. Guys... Generally speaking, as the game goes on, the attacks get bigger, right? I mean, just obviously. Some decks just go super wide, but generally speaking, with most decks, you know, the attacks get bigger and bigger and bigger because there's more Dawn to play with, and the characters get larger. So countering out early is never a bad idea. At least not generally speaking. Swinging in for 7, they have to give us a 2K, 1K, or was that 3 1Ks? I missed it. Okay, just going to clear out the board here and say, well, I'm going to win next turn. Okay. Marshall D. Teach, make it where that character cannot attack, and you cannot use your leader's effect, correct? Actually, no, that's just on that turn. It nullifies it for the turn. No big deal. So now we can play out Walpole here. I think, okay, hang on. So it looks like, all right, hang on. It looks like our Sanji player is trying to line up a KO on the Marshall D. Teach. Let's see what they can do in their hand. So they have in their hand right now, they have -2 from the Otamas. So -4 from the Otamas, -4 more from the Fire Fist. So that's -8, which will drop the Teach to 4,000, and that will only be for 4 Dawn. 2 Dawn for the Fire Fist, and then 2 more Dawn for the Otamas. We'll have 6 Dawn left, and we have 10. You know, it's a 10 Dawn turn. I think we're going to be able to pop this Marshall D. Teach this turn. I think. Let me see. Let's see if they choose to do that or not. That'd be very interesting if they did that. Yeah, okay, -2, -2, -4, play out the Pell, give him Rush, attach Dawn, swing 7. That card got blown out of the water, swinging for 5. They're going to have to give us a 1K counter. They have no life left, and that was massive. So now there's no way out of it. Yes, okay, so he made it where that character can't attack, swing for 5. You can just, yeah, the game's over, pause. So it didn't matter there that he played out the... what you call the Blackbeard, because we have 2 legitimate attacks next turn, and we actually had 3 if we needed to with Walpole. But it was basically we were going to be able to swing 7, and swing even more than that with the Walpole if we needed to. So it was just going to be, you know, just too much to deal with. Really good game there. That was very interesting. Very fast game, very aggressive game, and that is what really hurts Blackbeard. It's like if they don't get time to set up their engine to draw cards with Lafitte, to KO characters filling up their trash, get down a Burgess, get down this Marshall D. Teach, get down Laboon, maybe Van Augur, Doc Q, and start really getting an engine going, it can be kind of hard for them to deal with stuff like this, guys. Like this deck just attacks. It just goes attack, attack, attack. Look at the 2 cards on top of life, by the way, and there's a Jozu in hand, and there's a Whitebeard Searchers in the deck. This looks like a very interesting version of Sanji. I have not messed... I don't believe I've messed with a like Whitebeard Pirates version of the deck. This seems pretty cool, guys. Pretty good stuff here. Okay, well that was it for the lab. Let's go ahead and move over. Guys, let me get set up real quick. I got to black out my screen. We have to head over now to some spoilers. So, spoiler warning right up front here, guys. I've given you the warning. You've been warned. So please, if you do not want to see any OP09 action, now is your chance to leave. Okay, first up, so mainly we're going to be going over Supernova, but I've got a few others we have to talk about real quick as well. First and foremost here, I don't know why I'm taking my glasses off. I'm going to need these. First up is Cavendish. Cavendish is a 4-cost, 6,000 power character, Dressrosa, beautiful pirates type. When attacking once per turn, guys, listen to how outrageously good this effect is. Draw 2 and trash 1 from your hand. Now, some people might be thinking like, oh, that's not very good because you have to attack, right? Guys, blue-black Dressrosa, this character will be able to attack characters on the turn it comes into play if you have the stage down. So we're talking, let's just say, okay, let's say Magical Christmas Land, we get the perfect pull, and we're going second. Turn 1, play out the stage, and use the leader effect, maybe on Rebecca. Maybe we're running Rebecca, or maybe we're running the new Usopp, who knows. But turn 1 stage, right? And then, well, see, hang on. It won't be as good in that case. Because what will they be doing on their turn 2? they won't be attacking with much, because remember, the stage only lets you attack into characters on the turn that your Dressrosa characters enter play. So maybe we end up going first, actually. Maybe we end up going first and doing it as like a wombo combo type of thing, where it's like turn 1, maybe search with your leader effect if you're playing Rebecca. Turn 2, play out like Kairos or something, who cares, whatever. And then turn 3, on a 5 Dawn turn going first, maybe you play the stage and then play out this character, and then you're smashing into your opponent's board right away. And this win attacking effect does not have a Dawn requirement. It is just attack, draw 2, trash 1. I'm a big fan of this card. It makes me want to start thinking about playing Rebecca again, and especially the new Usopp coming out for OP10. That looks really incredible. In fact, I'll try, if I can remember, when I'm putting the the end of the video together, where I'm putting out, or not the end of the video, but when I'm putting the information down in the comment section, I'll try to remember to add some of the other spoilers I've already done for Dressrosa for OP10, so that way you guys can check those out if you've not already seen them. But yeah, this card, guys, excellent. That gets the that's chef's kiss. Really big fan of this one. Really cool stuff here. Okay, we got one more before we get into the Supernova stuff. Check this out, guys. Vinsmoke Sanji, because guys, you know what Raise You really needed? It just wasn't very consistent, right? It just needed another searcher. That's all. So that way they for sure get their stage on turn 1. And if they don't get the stage, I'm saying then they get this card to get to their stage. But guys, check this out. Vinsmoke Sanji, 1 cost, 2,000 power, Germa Kingdom, Vinsmoke family, counter 1,000. On play, if your leader has Germa included in its types, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with Germa included in its types, and put it into your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Wow, that's crazy, guys. That seems pretty crazy, doesn't it? Really, really awesome card. Very powerful. I'm pretty sure, I mean, unless it's just slipped my mind, guys, I'm pretty sure all the cards we're thinking of would be Germa. I'm just going to type it in. I've got the search up over here, guys. Give me just a second. Let me go blue, purple, all search, and type in Germa. And it should be all the cards we know. Yeah, so we're talking every card that is relevant in Blurple Raise You, right? Speaking of that, this is just a miniature rant. I just had to make sure the stage is... Well, the stage is Kingdom of Germa. Hang on. Let me reread this. Reveal up to 1 card with Germa included in its types and put into your hand. So I think it will be able to search up the stage as well. Anyway, one miniature rant. Have you guys noticed how, like, all of the Raise You cards are just, like, they're pretty much all purple. All the Vinsmoke, Germa 66 stuff, it's all purple. It's too bad they didn't make Raise You just a purple leader. I'm not going to rant too much about that, but I just think that would have made more sense. They could have made it into a 5-life leader, and then I think they could have balanced things in a few other ways. Because I don't think it would have been balanced as a 5-life leader. It's already hard enough. Guys, who here has played against a good Raise You player? I mean, hop on the sim, it happened. I mean, okay, I got to be careful when I say hop on the sim, right? You never know what kind of talent you're going to run into on there. But hopefully you guys understand. Anyone who's played against a good Raise You player or seen a good Raise You player, it would probably not be balanced with 5-life, okay? However, I think they still could have balanced it from there, and it'd have been really cool. Making it into a 5-life leader, mono purple, and gone about things in that way, and changed it accordingly. But as is, making it a blurple leader that has 4 life just seems so weird to me. But anyway, back to this card. I think this card, here's the weird part. The deck list is already super tight. So it'll probably be hard to make room for this while still including the Porsche engine. And the Porsche engine is absolutely incredible, guys. Being able to play out Porsche to cheat out the 4K guy, the Ikiji, and then he cheats out a 7K from the trash. Guys, it is very, very strong. So I think ultimately any decks that are still running like 1 or 2 of the event searchers, the Germa 66 event searcher, they'll probably just convert that over to this because it's a 1K counter and it's a body. It just makes sense. But really cool stuff here. This card looks very strong, and I think it will help out Raise You a little bit. Okay, now had to get through those real quick. Now we can head over to some OP10 spoilers on Supernova. Okay. And guys, we got some yellow cards we're going to have to talk about today. Okay, the first one up is a green card. The weak don't get to choose how they die. That's the name of this card. It's a green event, Punk Hazard, Supernova, Heart Pirates type. Main/counter, KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less. So this one is kind of, this one's kind of rough for me. I'm not going to lie. I think it's powerful being able to KO a 7-cost character, even if it does have to be rested, because, I mean, people are going to swing with their 7-cost characters, right? And maybe, guys, it almost feels like this is, like, directly an answer to Reiju that we were just talking about, because it's very hard to deal with 7-cost Akiji. Like, that's a card that's very hard to deal with, and I guess if you can just pay 5 and remove it, that's very strong. But here's the problem. You're not developing a body when you're doing this. So you're spending 5 Dawn, which early on, that's going to be your entire turn. And then later in the game, that's going to be at bare minimum half your turn. So this card, I think, is good. Don't misunderstand me. But it does have its setbacks, right? It does have its, it has plenty of cons that go with the pros. No trigger is one of the big ones. And like I said, the fact that this is a 5-cost event, and it does require the character to be rested. So it's not like you can proactively do this and destroy a character before, or KO a character, I should say. You can't proactively KO a character before they swing with it. Unless you want to just give up half of your turn, bare minimum, give up half your turn and wait for them to attack, because you can pay 5 as a counter to KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less. Remember, to attack, you rest the character. So there are some tricks that come along with this, but the fact that this has no trigger at all really, really hurts the playability of this card, in my personal opinion. I mean, at least give it like a trigger, draw 1 card. I mean, just something like that, because otherwise, you have to always consider, whenever you're building a deck, what happens if I am up against the ropes and I have 2 life left, 3 life left, whatever, right? 1 life left. And I'm going to depend on that card in my life being some type of trigger or a counter. And then you top deck this card from your life and you just got a dead card, right? Unless you left 5 Dawn active, preemptively. I mean, who knows? You never know, right? But that's my one biggest problem with this card, is the fact that it is a 5-cost event that does not have a trigger to help, how do I say this? To help justify running a card like this in your deck. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad card, but it's not exactly my favorite. Let's keep going. Okay, next up, guys, I do apologize. This is just the quality that we have so far, because these are spoilers. This is a yellow card, even though it's all, like, grayed out. We got another 2K counter beige. Check this card out, guys. Capone Gang beige, yellow character, 1 cost, 0 power, 2K counter, Supernova Fire Tank Pirates. Check this on play effect out, guys. On play, you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand, and then add up to 1 character with the type Supernova from your hand to the top of your life cards face up. So that right away makes this a very high utility 2K counter, right? Like, this is it's a 2K counter at the end of the day, and it is Supernova searchable in yellow. It does not have a trigger, so it doesn't quite go along with some of the stuff I've been messing with. Like, well, I don't know. We'll have to see, right? We'll have to see what happens. But it doesn't, like, at first glance, this does not go with the red-yellow Sabo ideas that I've had for Supernova. Just kind of messing around with those, again, just those ideas where I could set cards the way I need to. But hey, this card right here, it does seem like it could be pretty powerful in the right deck, because you're not losing a card, right? I mean, okay, technically you are. Technically you are playing this character out and then drawing a card from the top or bottom of your life, but then you are replacing that life card with a card from your hand. So it's more of just a life cycle card, but it does end up being a card you're playing from your hand, so you are going down -1 for the turn, but you're making big setup decisions based off that. So very powerful 2K counter, very high utility. I'm a big fan of this card. Okay, nothing crazy, but I just think it's a good card. Now, this was actually one of the first spoilers that came out for OP10, guys. We're going to finally talk about it now. And don't worry, I'm just, people are probably going to say, like they said in my last video, hey, you didn't do this card, this card, this card. Yes, I know. I'm well aware. I do check out the spoilers about once a day to make sure I haven't missed anything. And when I check, I see a bunch of spoilers I want to go over, but I try to just keep to some, I just want to keep to the biggest, juiciest spoilers, typically speaking, because, guys, whenever OP10 does get closer to releasing, I'm going to be doing a full set review of every color, every leader, all that good stuff. Okay, guys, just so everyone understands, these are just like little miniature spoilers I'm showing off randomly as they come up of the ones I like the most, the ones that catch my attention. So with Jewelry Bonnie here, it's a 5-cost, 6,000 power, yellow Supernova Bonnie Pirates type character with a 1K counter. Very relevant stats. Very relevant stats. Excuse me. Not Egghead, though. It's not Egghead. So I'm sure some Vegapunk players are probably going to be a little bit upset about that, and I can imagine, I can understand why. But on play, if your leader has the Supernova... okay, I guess it wouldn't have mattered much anyway, right? So on play, if your leader has the Supernovas type and your life total is equal to or less than your opponent's, place up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or lower characters on the top or bottom of their life face up. This card is very powerful, but it is locked completely to Supernova type leaders, right? Like, we can't get any effect from this in something like, for example, just giving an example, Red-Yellow Sabo, I believe he's Dressrosa slash Revo Army. So I can't even use this character for its effect in my deck. So that always kind of stinks when a card is super limited like that does have potential, because guys, I would be trying to make this work in my Red-Yellow Sabo deck, because then I could actually slow the game down, right? Excuse me. A card like this in that kind of deck, I think I would end up running like this card, the 5-cost Nami and 5-cost Gidatsu. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm just going to attack your board the whole time and bounce cards to life, KO bigger characters with Gidatsu, always pop a 5 or less with Nami and just go about things that way. But generally speaking, I do think this is a very strong card. I just... I'm always upset when it's restricted like that. I understand why they do that. It's for balance purposes. I'm not complaining about it like that. I'm just saying it does make me, go like, oh, shoot. I wanted to try that card in this leader, right? But very solid card. Really, really awesome art as well. Look at the hair, guys. Incredible. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, we have this card called Electromagnetic Cannon. This is a 4-cost Supernova Kid Pirates type event. It has main, look at up to 1 card from the top of you or your opponent's life cards and placed at the top or bottom of the life cards. So that first effect is Katakuri, right? The first effect is the Katakuri effect to look at your life or your opponent's life and then and then either leave it at the top or put it on the bottom of the respective life pile. And then there's another effect here. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Okay. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. That's very, very powerful. I truly don't understand. So this reminds me a lot of, it's not the exact same thing, but it reminds me of Reject, where it's like, why does yellow get a 4-cost KO of 5 or less? Like, in my opinion, just hear me out for a second, guys. This is just basing things on sheer, like, balance and design principles. Why doesn't this push a character to the top or bottom of your opponent's life instead of KOing them? I just feel like that would be more thematic to yellow. So it's still soft removal where it's pushing a card out of your way. And if you're pushing a card to life, you also have synergy with cards like Gidatsu. Now, yes, it has like an inverse synergy with a card, or it has no synergy with a card like what's her name, 4-cost Kikanojo. But that's fine, right? Because that's Land of Wano. This is Supernova Kid Pirates. Like, I feel like that'd be fine, and they would both still be on theme. Now, I will say this, the trigger, incredible, draw 2, trash 1, we'll take that anytime, every time. But other than that, I think this card is extremely good. I don't know, it's hard, let me say this too, excuse me. Let me say this too, guys, when it comes to One Piece, it is very hard to justify running an event, ever. Like, it's very hard to, because it doesn't have a 1K counter on it, or a 2K for that matter, so it doesn't have counter power, and on top of that, it's not developing a body. So I'm not saying it's unusable. I'm not saying that. I'm saying whenever people decide to run an event in their deck, it's usually for something very, very specific, like 200 million volts of Maru back in back in the day. People rarely run that card nowadays, but that was a card that saw a lot of play. Well, 200 million volts of Maru can tap down a character and help you swing for lethal. It's like an execute. A card like this is removal, but hang on a second. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 5 or less. We actually already had that on a 5-cost body in Nami. And hey, if you're running the card we just looked at, if you're running Supernova, you'll also be able to put a 4-cost or lower to the top of someone's life, or the top or bottom of someone's life. So it's one of those effects where it's like, it is by no means a bad card. Okay, I'm not saying that at all. But at the same time, it's kind of, it's like I said, it's just very hard to justify running an event, because think about it, guys. For the cost of 4, you can KO a 5 or less. It's not a 1K counter in your hand. It does not develop a card on your board. It does have a trigger. The trigger is a redeeming factor for sure. But for 1 Dawn more, we can actually just KO a 5 or less and develop the body, and it has a trigger, and it's a 1K counter talking about Nami. Now, who knows? Maybe eventually someone ends up running a deck that runs all of the stuff we're saying, because this card is not locked to Supernova Pirates, and because it has a trigger, this is also searchable by Dareshi. So there are things we have to consider there, right? There are some things we'll have to mess around with. I like the card a lot, but like I said, when it comes to One Piece currently, sometimes it's very hard to justify running an event over a character that has a similar effect. Okay, next up, we have Basil Hawkins. Okay, so Basil Hawkins is a 4-cost, 5,000 power character with a 1K counter, Supernova Hawkins Pirates type. On KO, trash up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards. Now, man, this card right here, guys, I feel like it could be so good. So, all right, hear me out. Trigger, draw 2, trash 1, incredible, absolutely incredible. And it has a 1K counter. So, like, everything about this card is solid as is, but I think this card will be insanely good in a deck like Purple Yellow, what's his name? Croc. Purple Yellow Crocodile. Okay, guys, imagine. So you just play this card out on curve, right? You start bashing away, and they don't want to KO it because they'll have to trash a life card. And notice there's no stipulation. It doesn't say if your opponent has 2 or less life, or 2 or more life cards, or if your opponent has 4 or more life cards or something. No, it's just on KO, trash a life card from the top of your opponent's life cards. So imagine if you hit this with a Okama Way, or Okama My Way, whatever it's, I can't remember. I think it's Okama's Way. Imagine if you redirect the attack with that card to this guy. Seems good. And guess what? He has a trigger, and the trigger is very relevant. And on top of that, he's a 4-cost 5K with a 1K counter. Guys, the card is solid. This is just a solid card, and it punishes people for removing it. So, yes, there are ways to get around it, just resting the character. There are ways to get around it with, like, locking it down with green effects, or bottom decking it, or pushing it back to hand with blue effects, trashing it. There are plenty of ways to play around it, but I'm just saying this effect, or excuse me, this character, very solid effect. Okay, I think we have one more spoiler, guys. One more. And I think, let me just see something. Yeah, that's it. So the spoiler that I'm most excited about is this one. So for those who are maybe new to the channel or who don't know me, yellow is kind of the color that I play. So all of these cards definitely are, I'm interested in messing around with all of them. But I play a lot of red, yellow, Sabo. That's my main deck in this game, and I absolutely love it. And then I saw this card. Let's read it, and let's talk about it, guys, and consider what I'm saying with red, yellow, Sabo. This card in that deck seems absolutely cracked. And I want to know what y'all think in the comment section below. So, Eustace Captain Kidd. This is a yellow character. Costs 8, and he's 9,000 power. Supernova, Kid Pirates type. On play, you may rest this character. So, on play immediately comes into play rested, right? Or you may rest this character if you choose to do the effect. Trash up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards. Okay, I think y'all know immediately where this is going. And then end of your turn, if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, you can draw a card and discard a card from your hand. So draw 1, trash 1. Guys, this card just seems so good for everything I'm trying to do with red, yellow, Sabo, and just with yellow in general. I think the most powerful aspect of yellow is the life manipulation. If I can gain life consistently as a red, yellow, Sabo player, and then if I can trash my opponent's life consistently, not give them life. I don't mean attack in and they get a life. If I can trash their life consistently, where they're not getting their triggers, they're not getting the cards to their hand, they're not generating value from one of your best resources, which is your life, yeah, then the card is like screaming out to me, right? Because in my mind, here's what I'm thinking. I can go turn 3. Let's just say I'm going second. So, turn 1, pass, whatever. Turn 2, maybe play out Kikinojo, it's whatever. Turn 3, Nika Robin. Turn 4, Eustace Captain Kidd. And now, all of a sudden, we have an extremely aggressive curve where we're playing out a 6K into a 9K. A 6K is nothing crazy, but it's also not, it's also not worthless, right? Guys, I can't wait to get my hands on this card and try this out. This card looks so strong for what I'm trying to do. I'm sure a lot of people are not going to like this card. This will probably be a very polarizing card. But guys, it seems very powerful, seems very strong, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this and try this out. Or who knows, whenever they get it on the sim and all that good stuff. Okay, so that's it for that, guys. I got to black out the screen one more time because now we have to head over to some games on the sim with Issho. Okay, we've got some fun here. we're going to try and have a little bit of fun here with a really, really cool leader. Issho. Green-black or black-green Issho. Okay, real quick, guys, let me make sure volume is off. The speed is on 2x, and we are good to go. Okay, guys, here we are. And look who we're playing against. I just did a video on this yesterday, Blue-Yellow Ace. Guys, real quick, if you have not checked out that video, that is a fun one. Okay, guys, that was a very fun video. The Blue-Yellow Ace deck. I was using one from, I think their name was the Kaizen Crew. Hang on one second, guys. I got to check right now. These guys from Germany, super cool. And I have it linked in my other video, in the video from yesterday, for y'all to check that out. But I just want to check something real quick. I think that's what I think that was their name. Kaizen Crew. Yeah, big shout out to those guys from Germany. Okay, good stuff. Check them out if you get a chance, and I'll have them linked down in the comment section below. They put out a Blue-Yellow Ace list that is just awesome, guys. It is refined and it is very different. Now let's hop into this game. I'm going to start off with nothing turn 1. Just, you know, the good old-fashioned turn 1 do nothing into the turn 2 do nothing except swing 8. Whereas my opponent gets to play out their ace, their 2-cost ace, and they're going to try and set their top life card here and go about things that way. They get the 5-cost 7k ace, but that doesn't really matter yet, right? Because they don't have 2 or less life, so it does not have rush. They swing in for 9. Their leader is 7,000 power this turn. I can't do anything against that while developing my board. They play out a Viola, which is a good play. Nothing wrong with that. And here we go, guys. Right here, I think I'm just going to either play out... I think I'm going to play out the Kuzan. Yeah, I want to set up the Kuzan, replace the card in my hand. I get a 2k counter from it, which is relevant. And I have 1 Dawn left. I probably should have swung 6 just to try to get something from my opponent, but that's kind of a cheap play, right? That's kind of cheap to play like that. Okay, so they set a 5-cost ace to the top of their life to start. Now the ace deck that I was running yesterday was nothing like this. It does not do the 2-cost and the 5-cost tricks. It just gains a lot of life. Or it just refills life very effectively. So they swing in for 8. I'm going to 2k, 1k to get out of it because I don't have any 2ks, guys. I'm getting too low of life, and I have no 2k counters in my hand. And just to give an idea, guys, I think I'm running 10 2k counters in this list. So I swing for 5 into 5. They give me a 1k counter. I swing for 5 more into 5. They give me a blocker. I did -4 to the ace with the Kuzan, and then I play out a X-Drake to pop the ace. And then I play with the remaining 2 Dawn, I play out Rosinante. By the way, notice my entire board. Those are all Navy cards. Every one of them, guys. X-Drake is Navy, and so is Rosinante. Even in my hand, that Rosinante is also Navy. So you better believe I'm running brand new. We're just never going to see that card, I guess. Okay, so right here you might think, like, why not just play out the Garp and just establish that in this way? And the answer is, I would actually rather trash the Garp, cycle it out for counter in hand and blockers, because I actually have full control of this game right now. And look at this guy. Guys, it is ill-advised to counter out this aggressively, no matter who you're playing against, because his hand size keeps going down, 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 just so he can keep his life directly at 4. Number 1, Ace wants to go down to 2 life anyway to turn on the 5-cost 7k Ace if you're running that version like he's running. Okay, so they're going to swing in for 8 here. They're going to use out the Shanks, but I don't have 7 cards in hand. So pause real quick. For those who are not aware, that Shanks is a 7-cost, 7,000 power character with no trigger that has on play, turn the top card of your life face down. You have to turn a face-up card face down, and if you do that, and your opponent has 7 or more cards in hand, they lose a life. The card's actually very strong, and I've tried to make it work, but I have had very limited success. I can't make it work, guys. I really like that Shanks card in a deck, especially like Ace. Even in Red, Yellow, Sabo, I've tried to mess with it, and it just ends up not really working out the way I want it to. But okay, just to give everybody a heads up what that card does. But now we're going to probably start running away with this game. So I'm going to swing for 5 into 5. Since their leader is only 5,000 power, I have no problem attacking into them. So 5 into 5 here, -4 to your Shanks. I think I'm just going to swing out with every card here, guys. I'm trying to do a little bit of math. I have to make sure I have 1 Dawn left for the turn. So I swung for 5, then I'm going to swing for 6. Now I'm going to swing for 6 more. It looks like they KO'd my character or something. I don't know. Wait, how did I lose my my Kuzan? I'm sorry, guys. We do have to go back. Oh, that's right. We saw them set the Luffy to the top of their life. So they set Luffy there and KO'd it with that, and we knew it was there because we saw them set it there, and then they turned it face down with the Shanks. Excuse me. So I attached 1 Dawn to my leader, and that way I was able to KO the Shanks, and then I play out a blocker. The T-Boat is what I used to KO the Shanks, because remember, guys, I did -4 with the Kuzan. Okay, they're going to swing 9 into 6. Okay, yeah, it's a blocker now. We will take that. That's fine. And I understand why they had to do that. They're in trouble. They play out a Gum Gum Red Rock, and that was no development. And that's the issue, right, guys? Let's pause for a second. It's not a matter of, like, Red Rock being a bad card. In fact, it's a really good card, especially when used properly. But when it comes to, like, playing events in this game, yes, he did get rid of one of my characters at the cost of 6 Dawn, and he developed nothing on the board. You know what I mean? So, again, it's not that it's a bad card. Red Rock wins games. Okay, guys, I'm telling you right here, right now, Red Rock wins games. However, you do have to develop bodies first in order to get that kind of advantage back. Okay? All right. Or if they had just played out like a 10-cost character and they do Red Rock, okay, now you nullified their 10-cost play to some extent, not taking into account on play effects, and then you saw 4 Dawn left for the turn. Okay, so right here I swung in for 6. I think they took it. We're going to swing in for 5 more. Then we're going to swing in for 5 more. Yep, and now I'm going to play out the Rosinante. Watch this. Pulling back the, playing out the 5-cost Law, pulling back my 2K counter T-Bone, playing out a Rosinante, and then playing out another Rosinante with my 2 remaining Dawn. So they're going to swing for 5 here. I counter out. I don't know why. I guess I was scared for him to, like, attack into my Trafalgar Law. So let's talk about that real quick, guys, because that was a blunder. So real quick, let me hit play. So they swing for 5, and I have a 6K blocker. So there's no reason for me not to just block with my 5-cost 6K blocker Trafalgar Law. And then if he plays out the 10-cost Ace, even if he chooses not to gain a life so it can rush, I can block with Rosinante. So I don't know why I didn't block there. That was just simply a play mistake. It happens. Okay, so right here I 2K countered out, like I said, when I should have just blocked, and then he plays out the Ace to gain a life, so it couldn't rush anyway. But guys, my attacks are coming in now, and they are going to be nasty, right? Like, these are going to be some big attacks. Swing for 7, swing for 7. It's probably going to be swing for, I think we're waiting on, excuse me, I don't know what we're waiting on. Yeah, swing for 9, and then just load everything up. Leave 1 Dawn active so I can pull, stand up my Trafalgar Law. Swing 11. They take it. And then in a turn, I use my Issho's effect to stand up my blocker. Your turn. I have 1 life left. I have 3K counter in hand. So right here, I'm like, you know what? We're not even going to play this game. Just 1K counter to get out of it. And now if you want to play out another Ace, it won't even matter. Give you a blocker. And now even if he played out another Ace, which he does not, he plays out the 10-cost Newgate, it wouldn't have mattered because I had a blocker. So GG. That was the first game against Blue-Yellow Ace. This guy had an interesting list, and I think he might have been onto something, but at the same time, countering out that aggressively early on just demolished his hand. Excuse me, and I just don't think it was the right play to counter out that aggressively early on. Okay, next game. So that was versus Blue-Yellow Ace. Now we got a game versus Belo Betty. Now, this is a game where, if I'm not mistaken, the absolute all-star is T-Bone. Guys, excuse me, I think we all know T-Bone is an incredible card. It's a 2K counter at the end of the day. It's a 5-cost 5K body. But the fact that it can remove basically a 3-cost in this deck for free because of the leader effect, and then I could just attack with him the next turn and stand him if I need to, like, it just has so much application in this list. Virgo I'm messing with too. As you can see, guys, that's a Navy card. That's a Navy searchable 2K counter. That's a 5-cost 5K, and then I can start attacking with him if I need to, and then standing him up with my leader effect. Okay, so I swing in, they take it, I play out Kuzan, draw a card, their turn. and the way to beat Betty is don't let them have a board, right? That's your best bet. Don't take too many hits early on, and don't let them have a board. Okay, let's see what they choose to do here. Just waiting on our opponent to make their decision. They have 4 Dawn. I would imagine maybe it's going to be a Karasu or the 4-cost Imperial Ivankov. Actually, we do know that they searched up a Lindbergh. That is the card we see on the right. They searched that up with this Belo Betty, and I think with the first Belo Betty, they searched up a 6-cost Ivankov. So they're going to swing it for 5. I give him the Kobe here because I do have 2 T-Bones in hand where I can deal with anything on the board plus the Kuzan. Okay, so here we go. Right here, I think I just get rid of the Cracker, right? The Charlotte Cracker, just pop that with a T-Bone and move on. Now, why not? I guess there is an argument to play out the Kobe. Like, Kobe is definitely an option here. But it's not as big of a character. But at the same time, it does let me get rid of some cards in my hand that are not as useful in this matchup, like the Rosinante. In my personal opinion, I don't think Rosinante is as useful in this kind of matchup. Okay, so we're going to swing in for 5 here. Let's see if they choose to counter out or give us a life. Okay, let me make sure that we're on 2x speed, guys. I bet I forgot, didn't I? Nope, we're good. It's on 2x speed. Okay, so we go ahead and pop the... okay, pause real quick. So I had 6 Dawn. I pop the Charlotte Cracker with T-Bone because he was dropped down to 0 cost because of the Kuzan. And then... So that was only 5 Dawn, right? With my remaining Dawn, I stand up my Kuzan. Now he can't attack into my board. I'm forcing him to attack into me, which is also dangerous as well, because guess what? That's where Belo Betty wants to attack anyway. But the fact that he cannot get rid of my Kuzan now is a very big deal, because that's going to help me remove whatever he plays for the rest of the game. For the rest of the game, I'm going to be able to potentially remove it because of Kuzan. Okay, so let's see what our opponent does here. Now, I do have an Electrical Luna in hand, guys. That card's pretty good. That card's pretty good in Green-Black Issho. We're going to definitely see that in the next game. If I remember correctly, the next game we're going to see that in action. Emporio Ivankov here. We have the answer to get rid of this in hand. Now, watch this. For any red-yellow Belo Betty players, you're going to know the mistake immediately. How does Inazuma get Rush? One of your other characters has to have 7,000 power. Well, guess what? All he has to do is attach 1 Dawn to Emporio Ivankov, even though it can't swing, because he played out the Emporio Ivankov, cheating out the Inazuma. And he's thinking, well, I have a 7,000 power character. It's like, well, no, you don't. It says a different, well, he does, but you need another 7,000 power character to turn on the Inazuma. So right there, you guys saw what I did. I moused over the Emporio Ivankov and the Belo Betty, and I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to counter out of all of these, and then I'm going to counter out of the Belo Betty, which will probably be a 6k attack, because he's going to need to attach 1 Dawn to the Ivankov so he can swing with Inazuma. But watch what he does. He makes a big mistake here. Attaches 2 to the leader. Swing for 7. Well, now you have not satisfied the effect of your Inazuma, and there's nothing left you can do this turn. They've already used the leader effect, and they have no Dawn left to allocate. So now that entire attack is gone. And all he had to do, instead of attaching 2 Dawn to the leader, just attach 1 Dawn to the leader, swing for 6, attach 1 Dawn to the Ivankov. It doesn't get to attack, but it allows your Inazuma to swing for 7 this turn, because you have a other 7,000 power character in play, not leader, character in play. Big mistake there, and it will cost him. That will cost him big time. Allowing me to stay at 2 life this early on, getting out of one of his attacks for free. And who's to say he's going to even keep anything on the board this turn, right? Like, see, that's where it starts getting really ugly. Okay, so right here I can just easily clean up the board. There's no reason to try to swing for lethal here when he has 6 cards in hand and 2 life, and I only have 3 attacks. There's no reason to do that. So we're going to go 5 into 5. It would be crazy to counter out of that. Then we're going to go 5 more into 2, or 5 into 2, and then 5 more into 2. Then we're going to swing 5 into face with the Kuzan, -4 to the Ivankov. He should give me a 1k counter here, or a 2k. Gives me a 1k counter. And now we're going to pop the card with T-Bone. We're going to play out Rosinante. We're going to stand up the Kuzan in a turn. And we are looking pretty good now, right? Like, we have a pretty decent board. Those T-Bones are not just 2k counters. And they're not just removal. Those are 5k bodies, guys. Those are 5-cost 5k bodies that we can stand up and protect however we need to with our Green-Black Issho leader. And potentially bounce them back to hand with Law so that we have another 2k counter in hand. Now, I've played out all my smaller characters, so I can't play anything out of my hand right now, but still. Okay, so right here, Belo Betty with 9 Dawn, they play out a 4-cost Ivankov and another 4-cost Ivankov. They're going to trash a Sabo from their hand, give their entire board plus 2,000. And remember, they just played those Ivankovs. They can't attack this turn. With one, they cheat out Karasu, dropping my leader down to 4,000. With the other, they cheat out a Lindbergh, and now they're going to swing 6,000 into 4, and then they have a 7,000 power attack left. So I think I take this one because I'm going to counter out with 2 cards no matter what. Swing for 7. I'm going to give him a 2k to get to 8, and I'm going to get out of this attack. Okay, so I think I give him a Virgo and then the other T-Bone. Well, okay, right here it's time to go for lethal. That's where we're at, guys. So 7k is going to go through no matter what. There's no way to stop that. Let's see if he gets a trigger. The only thing that can save him right now is something like a trigger. I'm going to swing for 7 to get both of these cards out of his hand if he even has enough to counter out. He didn't. Load it all up, swing for 11 into 5, and that's going to be GG. So right there, it was just a simple mathematic win because even, so hear me out, guys, right here. So he has, when he had 1 card in hand, 7k is going through no matter what, right? With 2 cards in hand, right, with 2 cards in hand, I swing for 7 here. I hit play. And now, so watch, so swing for 7. This will cost a 2K and a 1K, or a 2K and a 2K, or a 0 cost 3K. It will cost one of those options, but all of them are 2 cards out of hand. So if he counters out, no problem. I swing for 5 with T-Bone, and then I load the rest of my leader and swing in. So it's just, no matter what way you slice it, he can't get out of it unless he gets, like, insane triggers back to back to back. Like, you're the one who should disappear into, like, you know, beige or something. Something along those lines. Okay, now, next game. That was a fun one. That was a good one. Belo Betty's a tough matchup, guys, and it's getting even stronger in OP09. Okay, look what we got here. We got some red-yellow Sabo action, huh? I may or may not know how to play against this leader a little bit. Now, notice our hand is complete garbage. Guys, our hand is awful. Our hand is absolutely terrible. I think I'm running 4 Rosinantes, and that's probably one of the first cards I need to go down on. Or, you know, like, go down in cost on. That didn't sound right. Y'all know what I meant. Pause. Y'all know what I meant. So, anyway, let me pause real quick. So, what happened there? Turn 1, I didn't have brand new. I got that for the turn or from my life. Let me show you guys real quick. So they play out Hiyori on turn... Actually, turn 1, they had nothing. Turn 2, they play out Hiyori. We had nothing on our turn 1, and then we draw the brand new. But now it's time to develop the Kuzan, so we can draw a card and pass turn that way. They get a Satori. Very annoying. Okay, we got to say something right away, guys. Bust out the accuracy meter. Hang on. So I do have an issue with that idea there. That is not how you play with Momonosuke. I like Momonosuke plus the Hiyori combo in this deck, and I think it is really, really strong. But pushing your Hiyori to the bottom of your life, I've done the mistake before too, okay? I'll be the first one to tell you. That's why I know to say it's a mistake. I have made the same mistake, and you guys, you don't do that. You push it to the top of your life, so that way you take the hit, and it's a 2K counter. Not only is it a 2K counter to protect your board if you need it, but if you don't have to protect your board, you play it out again, and you set another card to the top of your life. You see what I'm saying? Putting it to the bottom of your life means you won't have any life left to mess with when you finally get it, even though it is a 2K counter. That's better than nothing. Getting it early on is actually a better idea, in my personal opinion, because you could just set your triggers, like easy peasy. Okay? All right, let me get this accuracy meter off the board, and here we go. Back to the game. So they're going to swing 5 into me, and I do need to counter out pretty aggressively, guys, because red-yellow Sabo can gain life every turn. And there's another play coming up we're going to talk about. I need to counter out of this. Yep. I give him a blocker there, unfortunately, for the counter. But, hey, I don't want to dip too low this early, or I'll be in a lot of trouble. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So I think what we're going to do... Okay, it really depends. I think I should swing for 6 at the Satori, honestly. I think I should have swung for 6 at Satori. But let's see what I choose to do here. We'll find out. Okay. Play this guy out. Oh, and don't swing at all with the Kuzan. That's one way to do it. That was definitely the more passive way to do it. But hey, because okay, so looking back, let's talk about some other options I had there. So I could have just swung for 5 with both my character and my leader, like swing 5, swing 5. Into Satori, by the way. That's the relevant part of that, is swing 5 into Satori and swing 5 into Satori. I still have 6 Dawn left to play with. If he decides to use the Momonosuke, no problem. Now I can just KO that with my X-Strike, right? And then on top of that, how do I say this? If he doesn't, that's fine. I can still KO the Satori if needed, or if he doesn't even, I guess if he doesn't attack with it, or if he doesn't save the Satori, okay, we'll just develop a carrot or something, right? We'll just develop carrot and go about things that way. And I think there were a few better options. And with my 1 remaining Dawn left, I just stand up my Kuzan. You see what I'm saying? I think that would have been the slightly better call. But okay, we'll see what I do here. So they push the Kikinojo into life just right away, and then they give their blocker plus 2,000. So I'm going to swing 5. And guys, we're just going to run this guy over for the most part. We're going to swing 5. They get a Kikinojo like we already knew. We're going to swing for 6. I think the turn is coming up here soon, where they should have done something and they did not. Okay, right here. So hear me out. Like, whoever the red-yellow Sabo player is, there is definitely an idea to actually just try to win the game, right? Like how's about just start attacking my face, right? Because if you start attacking into my face, okay, going for my board, I'm actually just like okay, whew, yeah, that's fine with me because you have 4 life. I would have to get all attacks through next turn if you attacked everything into my face and put me down to 1 life. because I could have countered out a 1. But then I have no cards in hand, no counter in hand, and I'd been down to 1 life. With all these bodies on the board, if I attack your board, you gain life. I just feel like that would have been a slightly better play. But hey, you know, everyone's got their own style of playing, and, you know, everyone's, you know, people, how do I say this? It all depends on how long you've been playing the game and how comfortable you feel with how your deck performs. Okay, so I swung for 6 at face. I'm going to swing for 6 more at face. He should just give me a 2K counter. I think he's getting greedy trying to get triggers. I could be wrong. Maybe he has no counter power in hand. So I'm swinging for 8 here. He gives me a 0 cost 3K and a counter. So he had to counter out with 3 cards when he could have countered out the others for 2. I just feel like that wasn't the right play. Okay, so I'm going to have to give him a life back here, I think. Yeah, probably playing out the Kobe, cheating out, getting rid of the Rosinante, popping the Kikinojo, and now playing out a carrot, and that card was already locked from the other carrot. But the point is, I have his board on lockdown. And guys, yes, I have had the carrot every game we played today. Like, this is the same list for all 3 of the games we've seen today. We just haven't seen carrot, and I run 4 of them. Hey, it happens. Okay, so now if I'm this guy, I think it's time to go for face, man. Yeah, going for my 8K body, honestly, I probably should have 2K to get out of it and forced you to attack 8 more into it, and I could have gotten out of that too. I don't know. I just feel like... But hey, watch this, guys. You guys want to see how good Carrot is, or like Electrical Luna, for example, is in this deck? Watch this, guys. I will swing for 6, and I'm going to lock down an 8-cost character now. That is wild, guys. Now I'm going to play out my Issho, and I'm going to rest the Kikinojo. Going to swing in for 6 more, locking down the Kikinojo. Let's see if he gets a trigger. That's the only thing that can help him right now. If he had gotten a trigger, I probably would have lost here, just to be completely honest. And honestly, I feel like I would have just lost, period, if he was swinging everything into my face. I think I would have lost this game. But hey, I'm not going to try and help out my opponent, right? If I'm trying to play against him, I'm not going to try and help him out. But just being realistic, guys, if he has a... well, now it's too late, right? Now I feel like it's too late for him to win. But I feel like, okay, hang on. Whoa. All right, so that was probably a mistake. Let's just be honest. Let's be nice. Let's talk about it. That was absolutely a mistake. They played out a Luffy for 5. That's fine. That's fine. But swinging for anything more than 7 with this character, I feel like would have been a mistake, because they have to have another rush card in hand, right? Let me see something real quick, guys. So they play out Luffy. Okay, there's Luffy. They have 5 Dawn left. 1 Dawn has to go to your leader. It's just not even negotiable, right? 1 Dawn is going to your leader to push one of these cards back to life to generate 2,000 power. So that's going to happen no matter what. So 1 Dawn's going on the leader, and they still have 4 Dawn left for the turn. So what they could do then is they could basically swing with what's on the board. They could swing for 8, 10, or 9 and 9. I think they could go swing 9, swing 9. That's probably their best bet to win, but even that is not going to help them, because I have 2 2Ks and 2 1Ks in hand. I can get out of a 10K attack, so that's not going to save them. However, if they have a Zoro in hand, let me see, that would end up being, okay, so they played out 5 for the Luffy. 1 has to go to Sabo. 1 has to go to Luffy. Well, I guess technically 1 doesn't have to go to Luffy. So there will be 4 Dawn left. So you'd want to go swing 7, 7, 8. And I can get out of 2 7s. So yeah, I think no matter what way this went, there was no way for my opponent to get out of it, even though that was definitely a play. I don't think he meant to do that. Like, my opponent didn't seem that incompetent. I just think they did not mean to do that. Swing for 6. Okay, easy 2K counter out. They take it. Got Electrical Luna. You know, but we're not going to need that. We're going to go 7, 6 times. You know what I mean? It's over at this point. Okay, 2K1. Oh, okay. Now check it out. Now we see their hand. Now remember, one of these Zoros they probably drew for the turn, and they had a Zoro on top of their life, as funny as that is. But hear me out. Okay, I think the only chance this guy had of winning the game would have been to play out double Zoro last turn. Because, so let's go back to this board state real quick before they played out the Luffy. Right here. So this was their board state with 10 Dawn open. So 3 and 3 is 6, right? Where's my hand? 3 and 3 is 6. So they could play out 2 Zoros, and they'd have 4 Dawn left. So from there, I would put 2 Dawn on my leader. You have to swing for 7 with the leader. I feel like that's a must. Or actually, at that point, hang on. Maybe you swing 6 with the leader. Yeah, I think you actually might swing 6 with the leader. I would 2K counter out. Right? Then you play out a Zoro because you have to do things in the right order, because you saw my trigger, right, guys? If they had played both their characters out, I would have rested one of their characters, and they'd have been in a lot of trouble. But I think what they could have done from there is, okay, so let's just say 7 Dawn is accounted for, because 1 Dawn has to go on Sabo, and then the other 3 Dawn can go where you want, right? So or 6 Dawn for Zoro, for 2 Zoros, 1 Dawn on your leader, you have 3 Dawn left. You're going to push the 9K Dragon to your life for a plus 2K. So one of your guys is 7, and then you have 3 other Dawn. So 6, 5, 7. We can go 7. We can go 7, 7, 7, 8. Yeah, I think it just always ends up being like 7, 7, 8 or something where it's just not enough. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comment section below if you feel like figuring it out. I might end up going back and figuring it out and putting it in the comment section. Whatever the case is, that was a bad situation. And I think they played a little too defensively as Red Yellow Sabo. And I've done that before too, guys. There comes a point where Red Yellow Sabo actually needs to become aggressive. Even though you could keep fighting for the board. It's like, well, no, just take your chances and go lethal. Just go lethal. However, I do see where they were kind of scared, because look at their hand, guys. I mean, 0 counter power. They have 6 cards in their hand, 0 counters. That's something to be careful for. Make sure you check your ratios in your deck, guys, to make sure you don't have too many bricks. Okay. All right. Good game. So let me see. That was it. Yeah, that was the last game. Let's go ahead and check out the deck list, and we'll wrap this video up. Here we go. So here's the list, guys, that I was messing with. Let me just type in 5 so we kind of have this up. So this is the list I was messing with. Let me move my head over. A lot of 5-cost characters. 4-cost is also really good. Like, I would say 3, now you're starting to lose some value. However, the 3 can be used in conjunction with the Trafalgar Law. 2-cost and 3-cost cards go perfectly with Trafalgar Law, but I don't have a lot in the deck. I have the Kobe, I have the Brand New, and I have the Rosinante. There's definitely an argument to change this Issho out. Oh, yeah, and I also have Issho for one of the targets for Trafalgar Law. Now, there's definitely an argument, though, to remove the Issho for, like, a 2K counter Tsuru. I think that wouldn't be bad either. But the 2K counters we're running are Virgo, T-Bone, and Issho. I think going up to 12 would make a lot of sense. And notice I'm running 4 of these Rosinantes. I think we can go down a Rosinante. Let me run through the list real quick, and we'll keep talking about it. So I'm running 2 Issos, let me mouse over them so you guys can pause and read them if you need to. So I'm running 2 Issos, 2 Trafalgar Law, 4 X-Drake. This card was nice. 4 Rosinante, 4 of the other Rosinante, so the 8-cost and the 2-cost Rosinante, 4 Carrot, 4 T-Bone, 4 Kuzan, 4 Kobe, 4 Borsalino, 4 Virgo, 4 Brand New, 2 Sabos, just because it's a very high utility card. I don't really love this card, to be honest, but in this deck, it is really strong. And I'm not saying it's a bad card. I'm just saying I find, I don't know, I won't say much. It's a very strong card, just know that. And there's a reason it's going for quite a bit right now in the market, right? And I'm running 2 of these Garps. I don't know. It's hard to make this work, guys. I'm going to be honest. I feel like I don't draw enough cards. And then we're running 2 Electrical Lunas. Now, excuse me. Some people are probably wondering, like, where is Gecko Moria? Guys, this leader, pause and read this leader if you do not know what he does. It's all about the 5-cost targets for me. And Gecko Moria can only hit 4-cost targets. Yes, I still have plenty of targets. I mean, I could grab Borsalinos plus Brand News, or Kuzan plus Brand News, Borsalino plus Rosinantes. You can absolutely, if you want to, you can drop the Rosinante, the 8-cost Rosinante, and just go straight in Gecko Morias. I don't think it'll hurt the list that bad. I don't think it would mess it up at all, honestly. But there were a few times where I played out the Rosinante, cheated down a 5-cost body, and now I've got a pretty decent advantage over my opponent on the board. At least sometimes that can happen. And sometimes it did happen when I was playing. Not much, but I also haven't done a ton of testing with it. Now, I do want to show you guys one other thing that I've been considering. Let me go to green, black. Here it is. So when I first put the deck together, this is actually how it was built. Notice I only have 2 Kobe's in this version, and I only have... let me see. The 2 Issos aren't in here. I'm running the 4 Virgos, the 4 T-Bones. That's what it is. So it's -2 Kobe's and -2 of the 2K counter Issos. And I was running 4 of Monkey D. Garp. This is a 3-cost card. And it's actually a really nice, odd, going first and having a play on turn 2. That's not, you don't want a Kobe on turn 2, right? Like, typically speaking, this is not what you want to do on your turn 2 play. You do it if you have to, I guess, but that's not really what I'm going for. Whereas Garp, he allows me to get, you know, -1 more Dawn closer to KOing something with my T-Bone, my X-Drakes, and my, where's he at? I guess Garp, technically, but there's another character, the Kobe's. But, more importantly, with a deck like this, all of a sudden, like, this character's hitting a 9, right? Like, if you can go -1 with Garp, attach 1 Dawn to your Issho, I'm keeping a 9-cost character rested. Like, I think that's really strong. And the same idea with my Electrical Lunas. Like, all of a sudden, I'm hitting all 8 or less characters if I attach 1 Dawn to my leader. I do think there is something there. I think Electrical Luna and Carrot are just going to be absolutely prime for a deck like this, but I do think it still needs to be majority Navy, so you have access to these other extremely powerful cards that are extremely relevant, right? One card I want to there's one card I wanted to look at. It's a 1-cost Sengoku. I want to see something real quick. Yeah, this is another card to consider, especially if you're going to be messing around with Gecko Moria. Check this card out, guys. This comes out in ST19, so it's not technically legal yet, but very soon, guys. I'm recording this on 10/18, on 10/25, so next week, at the time of recording this, the starter decks will be legal, right? So really cool. But this card here, I think, would be very good, a very good addition to the deck as our turn 1 play. So it's a 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter. That's all fine. Navy, of course, and Goku. On play, you may trash 2 black Navy type cards from your hand. If your leader has the Navy type, draw 3 cards. Well, as you can see, guys, we have a lot of those options. The only cards in the deck that are not Navy, well, it does have to be black Navy, that is important, but that's not many cards, right? So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So only 20 cards in the entire deck are not black Navy. And who knows, if we do decide to run this card, maybe we do drop down these Rosinantes and try something else in the place of them. Maybe run in some... Well, I don't know. If we were to remove this card, I do think we would just be going up... I think it would be going up Gecko. I think it's just kind of like your decision. Because, like I said, there's actually very good targets in this deck for Gecko. You've got your Kuzans, you've got your Borsalinos, your Brandus, your Rosinantes, and if we add Sengoku, you've got that too. It's not exactly bad, right? Not exactly bad. Excuse me. But yeah, that's about it, guys. That's where we're at. That's what I'm messing with. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this. If you guys have any ideas you've been messing with for OP08.5 and going into OP09 for Black Green Issho, by all means, say something in the comment section below. I think this leader looks awesome. This is a leader that I always wanted to work, and I don't play green. But Black Navy is like, that is what got me into this game. Okay, OP02 is when I got into this game. Navy is what like really pushed me into the game. Seeing cards like, let me just show you. I probably say this every time that we get on this subject, guys. But when I saw this leader, I was like, whoa, that is so cool. I was not even a One Piece fan. For those who don't know me, my background's not One Piece. That's not my background. I was looking for something. I was looking for a card game to get into with my son over the summer. And my son liked One Piece. So, of course, I'm like, okay, well, let's check out these One Piece cards. And when I first saw some of the cards, like some of the earlier cards because remember, guys, in OP01, there was only red, green, blue, and purple. Black came in OP02 when I came into the game, and then yellow came in OP03, the next set. So when I saw some of the original cards, I was like, this game looks all right, you know what I mean? But then I saw the black cards, like I said, right when they came out for OP02, and I was like, okay, hang on. Yeah, okay. All right, I think we're going to try this game out, especially when I saw Kuzan. It's something about just, the chest back like that. He just looks like an absolute beast there. It was this, and it was Borsalino. Absolutely fell in love with this kind of Navy theme in the game, and here we are. Okay, this video ended up being an hour and 10 minutes long, or hour and 8 minutes long. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Guys, if I missed anything, please help me out down in the comment section below. Please don't be afraid to ask any questions, make any comments or suggestions. I just ask that you be respectful. Hey, we're all just humans at the end of the day, right? We're all people here. Let me go ahead and put up the playmat page here. Hang on one second, guys. I got to adjust my face camera. There we go. Big shout out to everybody who supports my channel. Guys, if you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, whatever you're doing to help out this channel grow, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. Big shout out to the VV Pirates playmat supporters. I hope you guys everyone should have their mat by now. Hope you're enjoying that. And those came out really cool. I am thinking of some more designs, in the future. Nothing yet. I can't spoil anything yet, but I am trying to think of some more designs to come out in the future for a future playmat. Last but not least, we got the patrons here. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Just each and every one of you guys who've supported me, literally just donating, trying to help out. It wasn't for a play mat. It wasn't for anything. Just literally saying, you know, here you go. I hope this helps. And I really appreciate you guys. Thank you all so much. All right, I'm done. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, guys, peace.